Anderson. I am an artist teaching with the Mehau Arts Alliance, and we're going to draw a picture today that is going to be an underground picture. It's going to be the mysterious life that happens underground. There's a lot that goes on there that we don't really know so much about, and we're going to be dealing with some of the critters and what they do. And all you really need for this is some type of a pencil. I use mechanical pencils, but you could have a regular pencil. You will need some type of a pen. The skinnier the better, but just about any type of pen will work. And a nice eraser of some type. It could be one of them big pink erasers or a white eraser. That's really the only materials you use. I will show you some things about color later on, but for the main thing, these are your three tools right here. We're going to do a lesson that we're going to split into three separate lessons. And first we're going to draw this garlic with its roots here, and then I'll give you some time, and then we're going to draw all these different types of earthworms, and then we're going to come back and draw the millipedes and the pill bugs and a few other details. Okay, so today when we learn about the soil, I'm going to introduce you to some of my wiggly, scrabbly little friends. And one of the friends I'd like to introduce you to is worms. So here's some real worms. Okay, last night I went out to my compost pile and I dug around, and of course there were just lots and lots of red wigglers. And so I got the garbage out and put them in this little bin here. And as you can see, there's none on the top because they do not like light at all. But as I dig further down, there's more and more. And if I reach down to the very bottom, there's actually quite a few of them. So this is what red wiggler worms look like. Red wigglers are what we use to make compost. We call it vermicompost because when you make compost with worms, it's called vermicompost. And so these are the little guys. They're not very big. You can see they're red and they're wiggly. They do not like light. In fact, if they're exposed to light for an hour, they'll die. They don't have any eyes, but they have cells in their head that are sensitive to light. So they always try to go away from it. So this little fellow is trying to go on the other side of my hand, and I'm going to put him back before he gets hurt. One of the main things you want to know about them is every worm, no matter what type of earthworm, has this thing called a clitellum. It's this little bulgy part you see right here. Anyway, that's the size of a red wiggler worm, and that's a lot of what we're going to be drawing. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to make a really loose border around your paper. I'm going to make mine about an inch. No, I'm going to make it about a finger's width. So see how I'm doing it? It's not, you don't need a ruler. It's really not a big deal. In this pencil line, actually, you'll probably end up erasing. It's just nice. I like to do it so I don't end up drawing right to the edge of the paper. When I was young, I used to do that all the time, and then you can't mat your stuff, and you know. Anyway, I always like to start by doing this. Okay, so now we've got a rectangle, and we're going to draw about where the very top level of the soil is. Put it about here, and this is a very light line. This can be a lost and found line. What that means is instead of just drawing a line, it's like you're drawing and you're skipping up and down like that. That's really light. It's probably not that easy for you to see, but that's a lot of what I do when I start my first sketches. It's a lost and found line. And then just for the heck of it, I think that's just where I'll leave it, and then we'll talk about the rest of the soil later. Okay, so I want to do a plant, and I decided to just do a garlic plant. So I'm just going to make the shaft of the stem of the garlic plant going down like this. And then the body of the plant. Notice how I'm doing real sketchy lines, really light. It's super important that you draw lightly if you can, because we're actually going to be inking these lines, and we're going to be, after we put the ink on, we're going to go through and we're going to take a big eraser and erase the pencil out from underneath them. And then they'll look just really so clean and so nice, you'll be amazed. So, I bulged out like that. I don't have it real exact, it doesn't really matter. And then garlic has these different cloves. And so we're going to do one section here that's kind of like a U, and it goes bulging out of the bottom. Okay, so that's the basic bulb. And then we'll do just a couple of the beginnings of leaves, because this is really about the underground, and I could do a whole lesson on drawing garlic, but I'm not going to do that today. So I go to the stem here and I make kind of like a sideways J that comes looping out like so. See how it comes up by the edge, and then it's just going to go. This one maybe we'll have it actually be in the picture. So I'm going to take that one down like that. Now I want to connect this J with that. And eventually, you don't have to do it now, but you're going to erase that little line. And then I'm going to go across like this. I'm actually going to cross like that. See how I crossed it? That is a tricky way that I learned a long time ago. Easy way to make it look like your leaf is twisting. And then here, I'm just going to kind of go across like so, and down like this. And so it looks like the leaf is going up and turning. And then a couple little light lines here. Okay. And then the other leaf is going to be the same thing, but it's going to be up much higher, and it's going to go the opposite way. There's going to be a J that goes up like so, and right off the page. And then again, it will come down like so and connect with the stem, and I'm going to erase that a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to make that go there. And then these stems, they have lines in them. But we're going to put some light lines. We're only going to put it on one side. We don't have to do it everywhere. I'm going to put a couple lines here, and I'm going to have some lines, again, lost and found lines. It's like you're suggesting it, but you're making them kind of subtle. So that's basically the plant. And really don't worry if it looks anything like this. It doesn't make that much difference. We're doing the soil. Okay, so now the roots. Roots are fun. And this is something that is so important when learning to draw this simple concept called overlapping. And so I'm going to start with the first root, and it's out in the front. I'm going to make a nice kind of sinuous, kind of wavy line. And then the important thing that's a little bit tough is to try to make this thing kind of the same. Doesn't matter if you don't get it, but kind of the same thickness all the way around. And notice I'm doing little sketchy lines because it's quite hard even for me to just sit there and draw the line like that. And then I'm going to have it end in a kind of a point. And I'm going to do another one over here that's kind of going out a little further to the side. Same thing. Then after we do a few of these, I think I might pause the video and let you just work on them, on your own and see what you could get done. Put another one here. Now you're probably going, well, that's not very many roots. It's not. And this is actually going to have a lot of roots. But the roots are something that we could learn how to do them. And then if you want, you could add to it later rather than wait for everybody to finish. We all work at different rates. And it's really okay to work really slow, but you might not work slow, so I don't want you to get bored. Okay, now I am going to start doing the overlapping. This little root is behind this root, and so I just come to the edge, and then I jump over, go to the other side, and have it go wherever it will. Come down again, bump, and jump. And the idea is to try to match the line on either side so it looks convincing. I'm going to have a root come down like this one. This one I'm going to have overlap twice. It's going to go down like so. Bump. This one bumped over, bump and jump, bump and jump. like so. And then a few more. And again, from now on, there'll probably be most of them overlapping, and that really gives you your three-dimensional look. When you learn how to do overlapping in a drawing, you suddenly get to make things that look 3D. They don't look flat anymore. And I think I was pretty old when I learned the concept. I think I was like 12 or 13, and I was drawing a cartoon, and it was like of a person standing in the grass. And somehow I learned how to do each blade of grass overlapping other blades of grass, and I found it like amazing how much more interesting it looked and how it was really quite easy. But it's something that did not occur to me on my own. So hopefully you guys can get started with this and see how easy it is and how much it changes what you could do. Okay, so you may be at this point drawing these roots much slower than me, and I don't want you to feel rushed. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time now to, if you want to pause the video, to just do a couple more roots. Like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 15 altogether would be plenty, okay? Okay, I added a couple more roots, and I'm going to start inking this. Inking, I think, is a super important step. I think you'll like it. I start wherever I want, and I'm basically just tracing over the pencil with my pen. And one thing I love about inking is that if you make something a little bit wrong or wonky with the pencil, you don't have to trace it exactly. You could like look at it and go, oop, I want to go out a little bit farther. And then you do that with your inked version, and you erase your pencil version. So usually the inked version, it's kind of like the pencil was a practice. So I'm just going to ink part of this, and I'm going to let you guys play around with it. I think I'll ink this top part because it's kind of the most complicated. Okay, and now the lost and found lines again. You kind of want to put these stripy textures in, but they don't have to be really thick lines, just more of a suggestion. Okay, and then down on the bottom, it's just the same thing. And this is where having the pencil, you don't have to make all the decisions of, well, what's going to overlap what? Because you've already decided, you're just inking it. I'm just going to do a couple of these roots, and then I'm going to let you guys take your time on it. I found sometimes that people who haven't done inking, it's good to do a little bit at a time, because it can get kind of overwhelming if you do a whole complex picture with pencil and then you've got to ink the whole thing. So that's why I'm having you stop and do a little bit inking now so that you don't have to do it all at once. Okay, so why don't you just go around now and ink this, okay? And this is mainly an outline. Yeah. Okay guys, nice work on part 1. Just go ahead and click on part 2 to keep drawing.